They want $1,000 for this? Way to go, buddy. You just went up like crazy in resale value. But seriously, some folks think the new OAO switchers are the bargain of the century. Other folks think it's gone a little nuts with price. Let's check it out. Welcome to Datafied, thanks for joining us, and up here on the line is not a pre-production model that I got earlier or anything silly like that. This is a Lion Chief 080 switcher, and a lot of folks that are used to seeing 080s are used to seeing them in this format because Lionel made a ton of Lion Chief 080 switchers in a bunch of starter sets for many years. They got some mileage out of this one, we'll just say that. Mine is a little bit more interesting because for those with a keen eye, number 4500 is not a Lion Chief engine. I actually put some Lion Chief guts in this ages ago, made a video about that a long time ago. Check that out if you'd like to. But you can still get Lion Chief 080 engines with all of the running gear and some pretty nice separately applied details. You got the handrails up here, all the details up top, all the bits on the side, and all the party going on with the running gear. I love that. That's something that the later Lion Chief engines are lacking. They are definitely more simplified, and that was definitely a cost thing. But yeah, this is a scale-sized Lion Chief engine. So for all the folks that shudder at the Lion Chief name, this can fool a lot of folks. This looks the part, and that's something that I'm going to come back to. The looks department on the Lion Chief and even the legacy offerings of these are pretty strong, and they are a fraction of the cost of what the new 080s are in the catalog. But I'm going to use this guy as our example today, just as a visual representation of what we got. Much like how I used this guy as a visual representation of the Lion Chief dockside switcher. I just did a video on that. Check that out if you haven't. This guy is in the same catalog as this. So I guess this is the September Steam Switcher catalog because there's nothing big in the catalog. The only big things in there are the diesels. The steam engines are definitely on the smaller side. But this thing only costs $370 in the catalog, more like $340 by the time you get a discount from a dealer probably. And this thing, you know, is sitting at $1,000, so I can get 2.5 of these nice detailed things. I've still got electrocouplers, front and rear. I went into this in great detail in that video. I don't need to do that again for you guys. You know the Lion Chief docksider at this point. So what is the new 080 switcher really leaning on here? Because as far as I can tell, the Legacy 080 switcher that they've made has more separately applied details and better stuff going on here than the Lion Chief does. But they've added a swinging bell and whistle steam. And that's pretty exciting for folks that are looking for features like that in a lower cost engine. The trouble is $1,000 still doesn't sound like lower cost until you understand the other engines that they've had that have whistle steam and a swinging bell, like VisionLine engines and higher end legacy stuff. I don't even think we've had a legacy engine with both of those on there. The 080 switcher is essentially a diet VisionLine engine, and that's impressive. That's a lot of fun, but it's interesting to see how over the years Lionel has kind of flip-flopped between making some things that were legacy, now VisionLine features, but then seeing VisionLine higher-end features trickling their way down seemingly to stuff like this. This guy's got more features than the Commodore Vanderbilt VisionLine. It wasn't too long ago when $1,000 worth of engine in the Lionel catalog got you a lot of engine. The Lion Chief big boys that we love here, the Lion Master, was $1,100 in the 2019 catalogs. And yeah, that's double the engine, double the wheels, and then some of this little guy. Granted, it doesn't have whistle steam or a swinging bell, but you got a lot more engine for that back then. I would dare say double. So how do you justify the cost? Again, we're going to ignore all the inflation and the T word and all that stuff today because if you put $1,000 in a inflation calculator and you look and see what $1,000 was worth a couple years ago, it got you a lot more. So that argument is kind of irrelevant, at least within the last 5-10 years, really. But so for 1,000 buckaroos, or 900 and some change, maybe dipping into the 800 side if you find a really cool retailer to buy one of these things from out of the catalog. Speaking of which, there's a pretty neat array of engines you can get from these, and I'm willing to bet some cool custom runs coming for this thing. Oh, speaking of that, they should do 4,500 in this. I know it's still not technically right, but you could put the headlight in the center like it's supposed to. It's got the right tender already. Yeah, this would be pretty cool to see if someone did a custom run of UP's 4,500, because they did actually have an engine kind of like this. Again, I kind of explained that in that older video there, but neat little story and some local history for me personally with this guy. So for a switcher, this thing is small-ish. It's got a pretty decent-sized tender, so you're going to want a larger layout to use this guy in switch yards, because he's going to take up, about a boxcar and a half worth of space on your sidings. And getting in and out of switch yards, especially if you're using fast track, those switches are notorious for losing power on stuff. And that is something that I've run into with my faithful little dockside switcher. If I move slow enough, or if I get slightly off kilter on one of those super even switches, then yeah, he's going to lose contact somewhere and it's going to stop working. I give him a little nudge and he works again. Wonderful, whatever. But the nice thing with these is that they have a tethered connection. That tethered connection has pickups in the tender that allow the whole thing to have this huge reach for power on the tracks to keep working, essentially. So that doesn't happen to things like the Docksider. And that's going to be an advantage. That was already an advantage, though, that we had with the 060 switcher that was in, a catalog or two ago. And that thing has a massive 2021 point pin wired tether that goes to the cab. I have that on Frisco 1630, my Russian decapod, and man, I literally feel like I just need to keep that thing on the track. I don't even really put it on the shelves. When I'm not using it, I put it on a siding or in the back cave in here or someplace on the track still, so I don't have to worry about trying to unclip that thing again. This is going to be one of those kind of tethers, because it's going to have more than just some pickups in the Lion Chief tender to give it, a light on the back and some sound. It's going to have more going on in the tender, so there's going to be more pins in there. So not really looking forward to that sort of a system, but I know the benefits of it. Now, speaking of the benefits, this thing is bringing whistle steam and a swinging bell, two really cool features, to smaller layouts. Designed to run on 031, and last I checked, Fast Track doesn't even come in 031 anymore. You can only get it, I think, in 036. So unless you're really cramming down on like 027 kind of stuff, this thing can bring those kinds of amazing looking features to smaller layouts. It doesn't have to be a siding. You can have a little loop of track and have this steam engine running around with a swinging bell and whistle steam. But those features have a lot of wow factor to them. If you bring an engine with a swinging bell to some sort of like a train show or something, like running it in a public place, and you park that engine in front of a little kid and you start swinging the bell, the shine off the bell catches their eye already because shiny, and then now it's moving and making sound along with it. And then you give it a couple toots of the whistle and you go, and you've got a model train fan hooked for life just from witnessing something like that. So yeah, go to train shows and run expensive stuff and get kids hooked. Please, we need more people in the hobby, right? So some really amazing features crammed into a smaller engine, but it's still, again, kind of on the pricey side. This Docksider crams a ton of features into an even smaller engine. Even head and shoulders, the cab of this guy really only comes up to about really this grab handle here of the 080. These things are really tiny. They're doing a lot with a little bit of space. This is another example of that. They're doing a lot with a little bit of space. They're doing, again, the swinging bell and the whistle steam in an engine this size. It's kind of unheard of, but you got to find a way to justify that price, because unless you're using that bell and that whistle a lot, that's a spicy meatball for just a little switcher. Especially if you can find a Legacy version that they've made of these, or if you're just fine using a Lion Chief version like I've been doing here. I use him on the top line a lot. I don't use it as much in the switch yards because these Lion Chief versions lack electro couplers in the front and the rear, so they're not really good for using as actual switching operations, unless you've got lots of little actual like disconnect sections in the track for accessories to activate the manual couplers that are on these things. They're kind of useless to be used, in world as a actual switcher. So that's really where the Legacy version comes into play, and where this 080 Legacy version, the latest version, they're both Legacy, I don't know why I'm calling it the Legacy version, is really going to come into its own, because you're going to have all the functionality of a switcher with some incredible features. So I can see why some folks are like, you know what? All of those features, if you're used to buying VisionLine, $1,000 is a bargain. If you're not used to buying VisionLine and you see an 080, I mean, if you got started in the hobby in the last 3 or 4 years, you probably already have one of these. It's just not as fancy. And so visually seeing that, and man, that's a tough pill to swallow. So I understand both sides of the argument. And at the end of the day, it's your money, do what you want with it. But I do think it's quite a value to get all of those higher end features in something affordable with the giganticest, hugest quotations. Did I just say giganticus? That's like Gigantamax Pokemon, I guess. But yeah, it's like in the hugest quotations I can think of, affordable, because these are getting really pricey. That's another reason why I'm leaning towards the Docksider for my pick out of the whole catalog, is because it's incredibly affordable and it does a lot. This does a lot, but it's not exactly incredibly affordable. This is about as affordable as the dummy units in the catalog. My gosh, those diesel dummy units are... You're missing $200, and you don't have command control or movement or anything. It's literally just a smoke unit and some lights. And electrocouplers? I would hope electrocouplers. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thanks again for watching. We got bunches of other stuff that we've made and a lot of new stuff coming, so hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming up. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.